Zachary, who do you think should direct Secret Wars should the Russo brothers come back? So, my gut instinct when I look at the MCU, what they've done in the past, what they've kind of looked for, even in kind of recruiting the Russos to do Infinity War and Endgame, you had some people that had directed 2 previous films that were well received. So who do they currently have that's still on the roster that has a couple movies behind them that are well received? I look and I see Ryan Coogler. I feel like he's the obvious front runner to direct Secret Wars because obviously Black Panther, the original one, was nominated for Best Picture, made over $1 billion. Second one didn't make as much money, but it still made solid numbers, especially compared to the rest of Phase 4, except for Spider-Man No Way Home, which was kind of its own thing because it was pulling together all the Spider-Man franchises, and it was more of a Spider-Man movie than MCU film in a lot of ways. And so you just look at it, who's still around, who's been here for a while, who's been involved in the story group for some time now. Ryan Coogler's the person to me that makes the most sense in that regard. But Ryan Coogler's done 2 movies that are very specific. Black Panther stories. They are kind of their own thing in a lot of ways because they're set in Wakanda. They have their own world building specifically associated with all of that. And of course, they tie into the grander MCU, and there's people that have showed up and things. But they're a little bit kind of different in that regard. That the Russos kicked off with Winter Soldier, which was a Captain America movie, but it also had Black Widow thrown in there as well. They follow that up with Civil War, that's a Captain America movie, but it's also Avengers 2.5. It's very much an ensemble film. And Ryan Coogler has done ensemble Black Panther films. Those are, I mean, obviously the first one, T'Challa is very much the lead, but it has a pretty large ensemble in another sense. Second one definitely is an ensemble film, though Shuri's kind of the main character in there. So they're ensemble films in their own sense, but what an Avengers movie is an ensemble that's pulling characters from a bunch of different franchises that are kind of different genres from a bunch of different places and pulling them together. I haven't seen Ryan Coogler do that. And so I don't know if he translates well to, if he's just really good at this one thing. If he's really just interested in this one thing, Black Panther, Wakanda, that mythology, if he's able to go bigger and different from that, if he's able to kind of do the big ensemble of the entire MCU, if he's interested in doing that, he seems like the obvious front runner to me. So my guess, based off who's been around for a while, who has a track record of hit films, been part of the story group, all that fun stuff, I would guess Ryan Coogler's the front runner to do it. Should the Russo brothers come back? Well, maybe. If you're looking at people that are established, that are still currently in the MCU house, Ryan Coogler seems like the guy that makes the most sense to me. I wouldn't go outside higher to try and do a movie that's so a part of this story group and part of the culmination of everything that's come before. So get someone that's in the group. I don't know who you pick from that's in there that feels like maybe if we went with our guy that did the Spider-Man movies, but even those were, I feel like Ryan Coogler can bring a more rounded sense, and if he decided he didn't want to do Fantastic Four and wanted to go off and do Star Wars instead, it seems like he's moving away from the MCU story group. If we don't have anyone else, the Russos have not had the best of luck outside the MCU. Cherry, I didn't think was particularly good. It was like them trying to do something dramatic, and it didn't really work for me. And then I liked The Gray Man, their movie from last year, but it was super generic. It was not as memorable, distinct as it should have been. And so if they want to get, earn more clout, reputation, power, MCU hasn't had a great Phase 4, hasn't had a great kickoff to Phase 5. You kind of put those pieces together and maybe it makes a lot of sense for both the MCU as well as the Russos. Pull back in the guys that they know how to work with Feige, they know how to work with the screenwriters to deliver these massive blockbusters with a ton of moving parts. That's what they're good at, apparently. Or maybe they got lucky 3-4 times in a row. I don't know, but with how shaky the MCU's been kind of lately, if they announced the Russos were coming back, I don't think that's the most exciting pick. It's because it's not interesting. Oh, let's get the guys that already did it. Cool. Okay. At the same time, they did it. And they did it really well. I mean, you look at... Well, I mean, all 4 of their MCU films are in my top 10 MCU films. So I was excited to see them do something else and wanted to see what that would look like and if it would be good. It hasn't been. So maybe I've softened a little bit. Maybe I would be more okay with them coming back. I would say that the Ryan Coogler's the front runner. But even he has some question marks because Black Panther franchise has such a distinct flavor, and that's the one thing that he's done is that world right there. But he seems like the front runner. If they go with the Russos, it makes sense to me.
Most of these clips are pulled from my weekly Patreon live stream. Join at any level and you can join the chat and ask all the questions you want. That's for as little as $2 per month. For $5 per month, you can get your name on my end card. For $25 per month, you can have a monthly video chat with me. Link is in the description for more details, and keep talking movies and TV too much.